So our topic today is parking lot beers and the importance of big energy when you're at a networking event. Now, I know that every business owner has been to one of these boring networking events where everybody's just shaking hands. Oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, well, I'm a roofer. I do this, I do that. What do you do? And that type of thing. And it's a total snooze fest. So our story begins at the end of 2020, which, as we all know, is a super weird year. Now, the more you guys get used to looking at me, talking to me, and interacting with me, the more you'll understand that I'm a huge Carolina Panthers fan. And that definitely comes into play in this story. So my business partner, Christian, not pictured at the moment, but he hits me up and he says, hey, we got this huge networking event to go to on this day. It must have been a Monday or a Thursday based on the story that I'm about to tell you. So we look at the calendar, and it just so happens to be on the same day that I'm planning on going to the Carolina Panthers and Atlanta Falcons game. So this is not relevant to the story, but one of my little life traditions is that whenever Carolina plays or the Carolina Panthers play the Falcons in Charlotte, I always make it a point to go to that game with my buddy Bobby, who's actually from Atlanta, that we've been friends for a decade or two now. And we always go down to Atlanta when Atlanta plays Carolina, and we always go to both of those games every year. So we weren't going to let a little bit of COVID stop us. We were definitely going to go to that game. And it just so happened to fall on the same evening as this networking event that we were doing. So we end up going. I said, listen, Christian, I can't not be myself. I'm going to the Panther game right after this. I'm not going to interrupt my pregame. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to, basically, I'm going to show up. I'm going to have some big construction energy, right? And he's like, okay, man, just be yourself. Do whatever. So it's a networking meeting. We get there, and everybody's real stiff. They're wearing, collars, button-ups, stuff like that. And listen, we're in construction. I'm more into jeans and boots and that type of thing, as opposed to wearing stiff stuff and suits and stuff like that. So what do I wear? Well, I show up in my Christian McCaffrey jersey and some blue jeans and some sneakers and everything. So I stick out like a sore thumb already. And like I said, there's a whole bunch of people there that are just, what do you do for a living? Where are you from? Just kind of like first date stuff, really. It's just really boring stuff that nobody's really interested in. So I just decide, hey, I'm here. I'm already trying to make the best of it. I'm going to have fun. Now, a side note to this is that I showed up with a bunch of beers in my trunk, but I forgot my cooler. So that comes into play a little bit later on in the story. But we show up, we get a couple drink tickets, and I just start. I'm treating it like it's a pregame for my Panthers game that I'm going to that evening. And here I am in my Panthers jersey, and people are coming up and talking to me, and they're like, "Wow, you don't take networking too seriously, do you?" And I said, "Well, no, I don't really take anything too seriously." And so we end up having a bunch of fun. I keep going. I end up stealing some of Christian's drink tickets. So I'm just starting to put them down. And let me just say, by the way, I think there's plenty of people in the world that should not drink alcohol. That doesn't mix very well with them. It doesn't mix with their biology very well. And there's all sorts of other reasons, health, everything like that. So by all means, if you don't want to drink, I'm not twisting your arm, but you might miss out on some stuff if you can't handle it as well. So it's important to kind of realize that fact. After all, alcohol is the best social lubricant that exists pretty much. So I'm drinking, having a good time. I'm just being myself, getting ready for this game, getting amped up. You might as well have fed me 6 Red Bulls along with a couple brewskis, because it was starting. I was excited about this game. And by the way, we ended up winning, so I was super excited about that as well. But so I run out of drink tickets, and I'm like, oh, there's no more beer for me to have. And so I was like, oh, but I got beer in my trunk. So I go back outside again, wearing my Panthers jersey, and I just so happen to notice that there's some guys that are like ogling a nice Harley Davidson that's parked next to my Lexus, or as my business partner likes to call it, my old man car. And I sit there, and I open up my trunk. I'm like, hey, what's up, guys? And they're like, oh, nothing. What are you doing? And I said, well, I'm about to get some parking lot beers. And they go, what the hell is that? And I said, look. And so I open up my trunk, and I didn't have a cooler because I had forgotten my cooler, but they were still a little bit cold from where I pulled them out of the refrigerator. And I said, you guys want some brewskis? And they're like, nah, we can't drink those. Those are from a parking lot. Those are from a trunk. I'm like, they're cold though. And the guy looks at me and he says, well, all right then. He goes, damn, how did you keep beers cold in your trunk? And I went, very carefully, of course. We got a big laugh out of it. We may or may not have shotgunned a beer or two back there while everybody else was inside asking what people did for a living and stuff like that. But the important thing here is that I had a great time. No small construction energy. We talked business. We talked about having fun with each other. Big construction energy. And needless to say, they became customers. So the moral of the story here is that if you're going to go to a networking event and people are being stiff, liven up the party, be yourself, and don't be afraid to have some big construction energy.